it's not just something that's taking place in the red states, in very very deep blue California, Beverly Hills. I was going to sing the Green Acres song, but I'm not going to. In Beverly Hills, California, a mob of anti-vaxxers, a mob in Beverly Hills you don't think of very often, but a mob of anti-vaxxers were harassing patients and their children parents and their children en route to an elementary school in Beverly Hills, California. And you can see this right here. This is Beverly Hills.
He's gonna be traumatized because you put that mask on him and you don't let him breathe freely. You're traumatized. That's my choice. Yeah, well, that's my choice. You better respect my choice too. You're propagandized. You're not being told the truth. You're scaring your kid by yelling. You're scaring your kid by yelling.
And this was yesterday in Beverly Hills, and you can see small kids walking dogs on their way to elementary school, and this woman comes out to scream at them, and then others. And the woman in red, this is from Rolling Stone, the woman in red harassing the mother who walks hand in hand with her child is Shiva Bagheri, the founder of the Beverly Hills Freedom Rally, a group that bills itself as the Nexus, this is quote, Nexus for citizens committed to liberty and civic participation. She was also recently caught on camera punching a cancer survivor while protesting a mask mandate at a cancer clinic. And that was just one video there. And that was a benign video, right? She's walking, she's close to these people, their kids are walking. Take a look at this one.
You should choose what goes on your child's face and in your child's body. This is rape. Yeah, this is rape. They're trying to rape our children with this poison. They're going to rape their lives away.
Masking children is child abuse.
And it is.
You mask your child, you're a child abuser.
Ron DeSantis even admitted. Look at the 1918 Spanish flu. They didn't die of Spanish flu, they died of bacteria pneumonia. It's even on the NIH government website. Look it up. They want your children.
It's also trauma.
No, it isn't. Telling the children the truth is encrypted. They've been propagandized.
Lions, not sheep.
Yeah.
Lions, not sheep.
Again, with the sheep, we heard from Ted Nugent about sheep earlier. This is someone who is committed to the nexus of civic participation and freedom, going after these people. In attendance there was Robert Wunderlich, who is the mayor of Beverly Hills. He proposed that the representatives from the protest group meet with him later in the day to leave the children and allow them to walk to school in peace. And part of that is that, part of the problem with this is that this event in Beverly Hills, California, was supported and the proponents of it also were members of the Beverly Hills Fire Department who are also protesting a vaccine mandate. And you have to know that in California now you have both a vaccine requirement as voted on by the city council in Los Angeles. You have outcoming from the governor and the state that everybody has to be vaccinated to go to school. But the firefighters were saying that. And here's at a Tuesday protest in support of firefighters, this is a day before, who have refused to get vaccinated. One speaker urged those in attendance to also protest at the National Walk to School event the following day, which is the event that we just showed you a moment ago. They think it's going to be a fun and safe photo opportunity with parents and kids. David Hackenfar, a West Hollywood attorney and anti-vax activist, said at the protest Tuesday, let's show up here and show them it's not. Let's show them how we really feel. Let's make them afraid. And we say, let's make them afraid. This is a grown man at a firefighters protest of vaccine mandates, a grown man saying, let's make them afraid. And he's talking about elementary school children and their families as they walk to school with masks on. That's where we are in this country. Cenk, before we go further, how do we get here? How do we get here in Beverly Hills? How do we get here in West Virginia? How does this happen?
So look, there's amusing parts of this story, of course, when she says even Ron DeSantis admitted it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Ron DeSantis is on your side, the side of the lunatics. So how do we get here is obvious. Conservative media. They constantly egging these people on. We showed earlier in the show, as Michael referenced, Ted Nugent clip where he said that anyone who takes the vaccine is sheep. The guy has the same exact talking point on the streets, that they're the lions for not taking the vaccine and endangering their lives, their families' lives, and our lives. And we're the sheep for what? Listening to 99% of the world's scientists and 99% of the world's doctors. So you'll excuse me if I call them morons, because that's clearly what they are. They're some of the dumbest people in the country. And so it was easy for the right-wing media to manipulate them to their own death. Now over 700,000 dead in America because of coronavirus. And at this point, over 90% of the people being hospitalized and dying are unvaccinated. So yay, lions, okay. But now let's get, Michael, to the most serious parts of this. So these folks are asking for a ton of trouble and then also physically engaging in trouble themselves. I don't mean to protest. Okay, you're a lunatic and you want to say crazy things in the streets. I can't stand it, but you've got a right to do that in America, right? But when you start telling people in front of their kids that they're raping their children, you're asking for a massive amount of trouble. Now, if you're out there and listening, do not give it to them, because they would love that. They would love to pretend to be victims, et cetera, et cetera. Do not ever engage these folks physically, okay? Don't engage them at all. It's like going to an insane asylum and trying to engage in a debate with people who are literally have lost their minds, right? So there's no point in it, no matter how frustrating it is. But somebody, even if we tell them 1,000 times don't do that, when they hear something that outrageous in front of their kids, is going to get very upset. And that's what they're egging on. They're like, do it, do it. Now, but it's beyond that, because as Michael read to you, this person, Shiva Bagari, according to this report from Rolling Stones, she already punched a cancer survivor. So what are we doing? Why is she not in prison? She should be in prison without bail, and she should get a several-year sentence here. What, is assault okay now? Is keeping dangerous people in prison only for poor people and middle-class people, and those folks aren't even dangerous? Oh, you smoke pot and you're poor, we're gonna put bail on you and you're not gonna be able to get out. Oh, you're punching cancer survivors in the face because you're a goddamn lunatic, and you can walk around and do it again and again and again, and then go around telling people that, saying these outrageous things about kids. No, she needs to be in prison. And that David Gilbert, so-called lawyer, saying, let's make them afraid. No, that's threatening violence. That's also assault. That's illegal. Is anybody going to do anything about this? Or are they just going to continue to have more and more violence and just say, no, right-wingers are above the law? No, as long as you're a lunatic, as long as you're white and a right-winger, or in a lot of cases, you don't even have to be white. As long as you're a right-winger, you have special privileges. You don't have to follow the goddamn law. You can go around threatening violence, you can go around committing violence, you can go on trying to instigate violence, and the government will never touch you. It's disgusting, and it's gonna lead to gigantic problems.
And you don't even get a restraining order, and you got the question right, Cenk, because I was a bit of a layup for you to ask you how we got here. This is how we got here. It's a consistent theme. It is the right-wing media. It's the first thing you said last night. What does Tucker Carlson say? And we're talking about this the entire show. On his show, he said, maybe people should stay and fight and take back the schools, which belong to us. They're ours. And what do these people do? They call us sheep. They call them sheep. These are the ones who listen to the shepherd, and they go out into the streets of Beverly Hills and try and get kids, to try and scare the hell out of kids and their families on their way to elementary school. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Michael, they talk about Second Amendment rights nonstop. What is your Second Amendment right? It's literally about weapons. And you have a right to have a weapon, but how is that relevant in this context? It's only relevant if you're telling them to use it. And in fact, Cawthorn and other Republican Congress people have said, if someone from the government shows up at your door, which by the way would likely be a police officer, use your Second Amendment rights. That means shoot the cop. That's insane. That's insane. By the way, the people who show up at your door every day from the government is the postal workers. So what are you gonna do, shoot them? Look, Tucker, just yesterday talking to Andrew Yang, I'm gonna play it again. Look at what he says about the Unabomber.
Ted Kaczynski, I have to say, has written very convincingly on this, the Unabomber.
I mean, and then he went on to say, yeah, he's a bad person. But remember, the Unabomber's right. And then what was he right about? He quoted a well-known idea about how institutions wind up protecting themselves. Anybody, you could have attributed that quote to anybody. It's like saying, well, Jeffrey Dahmer made the argument about a slippery slope. Why are we quoting Jeffrey Dahmer about that argument? Unless you want people to do likewise. And so stay and fight, Second Amendment, Unabomber, and they're literally driving this country to civil war because they think they can't win elections anymore. That's disgusting, fascist that Tucker Carlson and almost everyone in right-wing media is. And Michael, look, this is now, I'm gonna go one step further. Look, the disgusting antics you see in front of the schools is obvious. The right-wing driving towards violence is obvious. But this is, in my opinion, an attempted fascist coup in slow motion, in progress. So what did the Germans do? The fascists in Germany, they did vigilante violence. They encouraged their brown shirts to go and physically assault people until no one was speaking out against them, because if you spoke out against them, the vigilantes would come and do violence against you. It's happening right now in this country. When Trump got into office, the fascists went and chanted, "The Jews will not replace us," and carried torches in Charlottesville, and they killed somebody. And Trump said there's good people on both sides. And what did it do? It encouraged more and more fascists, more shootings at synagogues, and more threats of violence. And here they are, they're building up a vigilante mob to use against the rest of us. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.